go and come right back with Donald Trump because maybe he has a puppy story he can tell.
Donald Trump is a billionaire, a real estate mogul, and a television star. But does he really want to add President of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would like him to. Please, let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump. We're so happy to have you. Whenever you're on with us, we're very happy.
Well, we love it.
Okay, so I'm going to take you at your word that you have not decided yet when you're going to run, but you're thinking about it, and you've expressed some of your views, which are controversial and in many ways, not
to her.
Well, not to her. Okay, you're a Republican, so, but let's say that you do decide in the spring, right? And your ideas resonate so much. On the other hand, you know, we saw Newt Gingrich apologizing for his marriages and divorces. You've had 3 marriages, 2 sort of uncomfortable divorces. Do you think that the...
Not really. They were very comfortable.
Well, we won't review all that. Do you think that the country, that would bother anybody?
I think the country is doing so badly, they want somebody that's going to help it. I think the country is never been in a position like it is right now. It's being ripped off by every nation, every intelligent nation in the world, whether it's China. They're taking our jobs, they're making all our product, and then they loan us back the money, we pay them interest.
That is
whether
crazy.
it's OPEC, which is, I mean, they're having a field day right now. How about the Arab League? They say, we want you to go in and attack Libya. These are the wealthiest countries in the world. Why aren't they paying us?
Okay,
so then they change their minds also.
But you didn't answer my question.
No, I did answer your question. I really think people...
You think it won't matter?
I think maybe 10 years ago it would have mattered, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The fact is, I think people want somebody now that's going to protect them and protect this country, because we're not going to be a great country for long if we keep going the way we're going right now.
If you...
When we have... Barbara... When we have France leading the charge, okay? France, this is our new leader. By the way, they led for about 2 hours. After that, nobody's seen them. I don't know if you know that or not.
Geographically, so they should.
Let me just ask a follow-up question to that.
Lead is the point.
Let me just ask a follow-up question to that. Let's say you run. You've given a lot of thought for this. Who would you like as your vice president? Possibly Sarah Palin?
Well, I think it's far too early even to discuss that. I'm going to make a decision sometime prior to June. I'm thinking about it very strongly. I think I'd do a really good job. I think I'd protect this country like it's not being protected. You know, it's funny. So many of the things I say, now politicians are saying, hey, that's right. Why aren't they paying us? If you look at North Korea, South Korea, we're protecting South Korea. They're making a fortune. Let's call it hundreds of billions of dollars of profit on us. We have 25,000 soldiers over there protecting them. They don't pay us. Why aren't they paying us?
You'd be treating this like a business.
No, a business with heart.
Okay.
Believe me, there's a lot of heart. It's a business, but it's also a business with heart. We will destroy this country. It won't be a war if the economics of this country keep going the way they're going. We're not going to have a country.
You're kind of a social liberal, Donald.
You know, you're a social liberal. Could you actually get the base to vote for you in the primary?
Well, every poll is saying that I'm the one that does the best. They're doing polls.
They actually have you a higher approval rating than Mitt Romney, Tim Pawlenty, John Boehner.
Well,
But out of those, if you're thinking of competition within the party to get the nomination, really your biggest competition will be, should you get the nomination, President Obama.
Well, I was the only one. A CNN poll just came out, as you probably saw, and I was the only one that was essentially tied with Obama. Everyone was 10 and 15 points down. So, you know, we'll see. I haven't made a decision. I'll be making a decision, and I will do a good job if I decide yes and if I win.
Okay. I just was wondering, because you were talking about how all these countries have been doing this. You would admit that this has sort of been business as usual for the last 30 years. I mean, we have.
Oh, yes.
So this is not because
nothing new here.
it's nothing new. This has been going on. So you're saying you would come in and stop that practice?
But it's never been as bad as it is now. We've never had $1.6 trillion in deficits.
It was as bad when George Bush left office. So
No,
he was the one who
we have-
left this.
You're right.
Who left this?
Excuse me. I'm a
mess.
Republican.
That's all
George Bush, he gave us Obama. I'm not a big fan of George Bush. I'm not a fan of
let's
Obamacare.
not talk about who
I
gave
know,
who,
I know,
baby,
Whoopi.
because
I
we
don't
all
think I'm going to
bent
get
over.
Whoopi's vote.
If you,
okay?
if you did, let me just ask, if you did beat,
And she likes me. She even put me in a
I was
movie.
just going to say.
She put me in the
okay,
movies,
yes,
right?
we
A
are
long time ago.
friends.
And how much did I charge? Nothing.
Like they
right?
say in the
It was a freebie.
if you did beat Obama, though,
It's just
would you
business,
say you're
Donald.
fired to him if you did beat him in the general election?
I don't want to trivialize it. You know, we have this show that turned out to be such a success, or maybe that's why I'm sitting here, partially because people have gotten to know me.
They respect
at
it.
that
But what
show,
about
by the
this?
way.
You recently said about President Obama, I'm going to quote you, he grew up and nobody knew him. Nobody knows who he is until later in his life. The whole thing is very strange. What are you driving at there? Are you a birther, Donald?
Okay, let me just tell you. I was a really good student at the best school. I'm not like a smart guy, okay? They make these birthers into the worst idiots. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? I think he
should he have
probably...
to?
Because I have to, and everybody else has to, Whoopi.
I'm sure
Why
that you
wouldn't
can't
he
become
show...
a business birth
Excuse me.
certificate.
Why... No, excuse me. I really believe there's a birth certificate. Why... Look, she's smiling. Why doesn't he show his birth certificate? And you know what? I wish he would. Because I think it's a terrible pall that's hanging over him. He should show his birth certificate. The other thing, if you go back to my first grade, my kindergarten, people remember me. Nobody from those early years.
That's not
We
true.
have
pictures of him.
What are you talking about?
Okay, show me a picture.
There are
No,
kids
no, I
in
mean, show
Hawaii.
me a
There are
picture
people
as
in
young.
Hawaii.
I've
There are
seen
people that he's
14-year-old,
grown
I've
up.
seen 13,
No,
but
as
I
little
haven't seen
kids.
early pictures. But more importantly, why doesn't he? And you know what? I think he probably was, but the word probably,
Why should
Whoopi.
he
the word
have to defend
because
himself
you're
against
you know why?
against an accusation?
Because if you're going to be the
It's
president,
admitting that there
of course
is
he's
this
an
doubt.
American
because if
citizen. He
you're
has
going to be the president of the United States, it says very profoundly that you have to be born in this country.
But did any other president do that today? Did George Bush
cannot be the president.
The question is, why would he want this
You know what
hanging
I
over
say?
him if it's
Probably
true?
he was.
No one has ever asked George Bush or said to George
No.
Bush,
Nobody
I'm
asked
sorry, is
Ronald
Hawaii
Reagan?
not part of the
I'll
United
guarantee you
States?
George
Have I-
Bush. And I'm not saying I was a fan
Why?
of George Bush.
No, no.
You know that better than anybody.
But why-
George Bush
okay.
was born in this country. That's right.
What is isn't Hawaii still part of the United States?
question?
Am I gone?
You
Do
know,
you
you know
question
what?
whether he was or not because he hasn't come forward
No,
with
no,
a
I
certificate?
grew up in New York. Wall Street was a big part. I have seen fraud, and I have seen scandal, and I have seen things that a lot of people don't see. I've seen people take a $100 bill and make it $1 million
Donald,
bill.
we're going to have to pause. Get to the point.
Okay, the point is, I can't rely on some newspaper that they show
In
that.
order to become president of the United States, in order to
I
get
want
a
him to
driver's
show his
license, in
birth
order to-
certificate. I want him to show his birth certificate. There's something on
Okay,
that
why
birth
not, I guess.
certificate that he doesn't like.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
that's a terrible
that is
thing to
just
say.
the
Whoopi, I'm
worst
telling
thing.
you.
That is
3 pounds
Donald,
Whoopi, I love you. I'm
Donald,
telling
I love
you.
you too. I think that's the biggest pile of dog mess I've heard in ages.
But the question is, then why not show it, right?
There's something on his birth certificate he doesn't want to show.
It's not because What he's is black.
Let
It's
him
time you were
show
born,
has
what color
nothing to do
you
with that.
are.
By the way,
Because
has
I've never
nothing
heard
to
Any
do
white
with it.
president asks to be shown the birth certificate.
Everybody does.
When you become a president of the United States of America,
Okay, listen.
you
Whoopi,
know that he's
let him
American.
show
I'm
his
sorry,
birth
that's
certificate.
Are you
BS.
saying that it just only
Guys,
lets people have doubt
do you
and
want to talk
it
at all
shouldn't be
about The
there?
Apprentice?
Doesn't matter. It's doing great.
Good,
The
then we
ratings are
won't
through the roof.
fine.
This is very good.
Then we'll go. But we have to pause. We'll have more of this when we come back.